because they couldn't resolve, among other things, where would they go on weekends. And he always wanted, his family had a home in Massachusetts where they went to all the time. And she said, look, once in a while we want to go somewhere else. So rather than do that with a therapist, they entered into a contract where at least once a month she got to pick where they went to go on vacation. That's another example.
John, do people actually have to enter into a contract? Is that mandatory, or do you find some cases where people...
No, in fact, there's a colleague of mine, Lori Israel, does a lot of marital mediation. Her website is mediation-to-stay-married.com. She puts a lot less emphasis on a written agreement than I do. That's my particular contribution. But because I think it helps people to go away with a document that says, we negotiate, we created this document. Even if they put it in a bureau drawer under the socks and never look at it again, the act of creating it is, I think, a very helpful part of the contract function.
John, who actually prepares the contracts?
I do. Okay,
you prepare the contract, and is it automatically reviewed by their attorneys? And if
yes.
They do they? I mean, people are always...
They have to look over it with their lawyers. If a person wants this agreement to be enforceable, that person has to see a lawyer. It's not like a divorce agreement where a lot of my clients never see lawyers at all. In a premarital agreement or a postmarital agreement, the courts are very clear. You have to have your own lawyer look it over, because the courts want to make sure that the thing is fair and that it wasn't, in the case of a premarital agreement, you didn't sign it the night before the wedding. Or in a postmarital agreement that there was some kind of pressure or coercion or as in the Fogg case, some kind of a trick where Geraldine tried to trick her husband into signing this agreement.
John, do you find that...
enforce it.
I mean, I know in mediation there's always a concern, in divorce mediation there's a concern the attorneys will sort of muck it up, and change things. Do you find that the review counsel actually help, hurt, or how does that work?
Most divorce lawyers are so excited to be working to help a couple stay married. The couple that spent so much time, a year, had two of the best divorce lawyers in Boston working one for the husband, the other for the wife, and they kept saying, we are going to do anything we can to help these people come up with an agreement that we are going to make as enforceable as possible. Because, in fact, one lawyer said, John, stop telling these people they're pioneers. We want everybody to think, this is a pretty routine matter. So the lawyers have been very supportive of this.
That's good, John. Can you tell us a little bit about, are there any special qualifications to become a marital mediator or certification or anything else that people should be looking for?
No. Anyone who is an experienced family mediator can do this. And I've been at a lot of professional conferences. I've been running workshops on how to use mediation to help people stay married, and I get a lot of popular response. There's a great group called the Smart Marriages, Happy Families Coalition, and if you Google Smart Marriages, it will lead you to this wonderful coalition run by a woman in Washington named Diane Sollee, S-O-L-L-E-E. And these are a group of professionals who help people stay married. Almost none of them are lawyers. They're ministers, teachers, therapists, etc.
John, is that on your website or?
No.
If it is, actually, maybe you can give me some of that information and we can post it on our website, and if people want to get it, they can get the information.
Google the two words Smart Marriages, all as one word. And if you have any trouble finding this coalition, let me know.
Good.
They have a conference. Basically what they do is have a huge conference every year, and people you've heard of like John Gottman or John Gray, the guy who wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, or the guy who wrote 7 Habits of Very Effective People. They're very involved in this group. I think the governor of Oklahoma has made it a public policy of the state of Oklahoma to try to help people stay married. And he's done a lot to try to promote marital courses. In fact, you'll be interested, Wally, one of the things I'm doing now with another therapist is trying to get ministers in Massachusetts to require or at least offer couples about to get married a very short course in conflict resolution skills, because this is something all your listeners will be very interested in. An experienced marriage professional can listen to a couple argue for 15 minutes and then predict whether they're going to stay married or not with astonishing accuracy, because the single ingredient that is likely to help a marriage survive is good conflict resolution skills. And you see the cartoon of the couple that says, "Oh, we never argue, we never talk." Well, that couple's probably going to get divorced, because if people are willing, if Mary does something that upsets Wally or Marty Fiske does something that upsets John, we talk about it. And we recognize conflict is a healthy thing. Anger is a useful emotion. It's a great energy source. And it's hard to say anything when you're angry that isn't the truth. So people shouldn't run away from conflict. It's a very healthy part of the human experience, and you have to deal with it. We have a presidential candidate now who says if you disagree with somebody, don't drop a bomb on him. Sit down and talk to him. We need to talk to each other. That's the mediator's approach to everything. Let's sit down and talk.
I know what you're saying, though, John. It seems to me when I'm doing mediation very often, you can tell when you look at the couple if they're listening or they're doing those kind of skills, whether the mediation is going to work or the marriage is going to work on that one.
There you go.
How do couples choose a marital mediator, or how do they find a marital mediator? I know you're out. We know you, but how about if they're not? You're in Massachusetts.
The news media loved this. The Boston Globe wrote a front-page article about me in December of 2005. That the next day I got a call from Diane Sawyer, who wanted me to go on Good Morning America. I said, this is what people are talking about. So I think the word will get around. I think it's like anything else that Wally does. You do it because you believe in it. You started mediating in Norwalk, Connecticut because you believed in it. And eventually people started learning about this. And because it was such a good idea and because you're good at it, it took hold. And somebody comes out of your office and says, you know, that was an amazing experience. I'm going to tell anyone I know who's getting divorced, they should go see Wally Marcus, because they can keep their head on and they don't have to get in a big, unnecessary, drawn-out fight. They can get divorced and still remain friends. Or they can even save their marriage if they want to.
John, thank you for the compliment. Coming from you, it means a lot to me. Children are a really big part of divorce actions, but I'm not sure we've ever really discussed this too much, of how children fit into the whole marital mediation equation.
That's a great question. I mean, even in the early days of mediation, the most critical people of mediation had to acknowledge that conflict among the parents hurts children. The prime source of disruption in the life of a child is knowing that there's conflict between the parents. All the research of Mevis Hetherington and other child experts leads to the conclusion the one predictor of how well a child's going to do is if there's conflict between the parents. So ideally the child would like to see the parents stay married without conflict. If there's a lot of conflict, the child might say, I'd rather have my parents happy separate than being in the middle of this constant war. So if couples are able to find another method by which they can figure out how to stay married, that's a gift to everybody.
It's good. We're not totally out of time yet, but we're running a little bit short on time. I wanted to ask a question also that I get asked constantly. You know, how long is it going to take and how much is it going to cost?
I charge $400 an hour. Most couples take 10 hours or less of my time to come up with a complete agreement. I want to answer a question you haven't asked yet, which is how do couples that are getting married differ from couples that are getting divorced?
Good question, John.
And they do. Even though couples getting divorced in mediation are very courteous, couples who are developing a marital mediation agreement still love each other. And I'm selected from my vast repertoire a very short letter to read to you, which I just read. In this case, I'm not the mediator. I'm the husband's lawyer, and the wife has a lawyer, and we're helping them stay married. And she just sent him an agreement which has all the terms of what she wants. And this is her cover letter, and she doesn't speak very good English.
Read quickly, John. We're running out of time.
Hi, honey. I am sending the list of postnuptial, but please check the grammar of it before to send to your lawyer. Sweet kisses and love, your wife.
Very good, John. I think it's probably a good place to end our conversation on marital mediation.
Sweet kisses and love, Wally Marcus.
It's very good. John, I want to thank you very, very much for for taking the time to speak with us from, I guess, I'm not even sure where you're in. Somewhere in Massachusetts, aren't you? Where are you?
Western Massachusetts.
Western Massachusetts.
Looking at the sunlight shining through the trees and the bamboo.
But thank you very much, John. It's very enlightening, and I'm sure the audience is going to really love hearing everything you have to say. You had to say on this, about marital mediation. And if you want more information, once again, about John Fiske, about marital mediation, you saw it underneath his picture, and you also can go to our website, which has a lot more information on it. And once again, thank you for watching Divorce TV and with our